Please state your name for the record.
My name is Eugene R. Zarnicki. The last name is spelled C-Z-A-R-N-E-C-K-I.
Mr. Zarnicki, where do you work?
I'm employed by the Iowa Division of Criminal Investigation Criminalistics Laboratory in Ankeny, Iowa.
What section of the laboratory do you work in?
I'm in the latent print section.
How long have you been there?
20 and a half years.
What do you do in the latent print section?
I will examine items that have been submitted to the laboratory for impression evidence, and that is inclusive of fingerprints, both what's known as patent prints, which are readily observed. I will examine items and do various chemical processing on the item to develop any latent or prints you cannot see with the unaided eye. I'll do footwear and tire track examinations and compare shoes to impressions that have been submitted of tire tracks or footwear.
Mr. Zarnicki, can you briefly give us your background in education, training, and experience to be a latent print examiner?
I have a Bachelor of Science degree from Truman State University, formerly known as Northeast Missouri State University. I have completed over 2,000 hours of training at the laboratory under the direction of 2 latent print examiners who were certified by the International Association for Identification. I have attended classes through the Missouri State Highway Patrol in fingerprints, through the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms in the science of fingerprints. I have attended classes at the FBI Academy, Quantico, Virginia, mainly the 120-hour Advanced Administrative Latent Fingerprint class. I've had classes with private contractors in the science of fingerprints, such as Ron Smith and Associates, in the area of palm prints and footprints or barefoot impressions. I'm a test certified latent print examiner through the International Association for Identification. I have given presentations on fingerprints to various audiences and training sessions. I have written approximately 8 or 9 articles in the science of fingerprints and identification.
Mr. Zarnicki, can you explain some terms? First of all, what is a latent print?
A latent print is, by definition, latent means hidden, which you cannot see with the unaided eye. That would be such as handling an item, be it this solid top, and looking for prints, which is non-porous, or a porous item such as paper, wood, and examining that and using a chemical process to develop a print that you could see.
What is a patent print?
A patent print is a print that you can see with the unaided eye. A good example of that is the child's chocolate-covered hands on the storm window. You can see those prints. The husband's greasy hand on the white refrigerator door. You can see those prints. Those are patent prints.
So when you examine an item to try to find a latent print, how do you go about trying to find a hidden print?
First, an item will be examined to see if you can see any prints prior to development. Then you evaluate the type of surface it's on as to being porous or non-porous type of material to determine what type of process you may want to use. A solid object, such as a lacquer-coated piece of wood, or a jar, a solid item, we would use vapor phase cyanoacrylate fuming, otherwise known as superglue fuming, to develop prints. We would look at, if it's a porous item such as paper, we would use a process to react with the chemicals of the body, like the amino acids, which would be ninhydrin, to develop a print.
Why does it make a difference if an object's porous or if it's not porous?
The substrate, if it's non-porous, the oils and secretions of the body will set on top of the covering or coating or whatever it is. With a porous item, the secretions are absorbed into the substrate, and we want to use a chemical that would react with specific secretions such as amino acids or the oils or the salts.
What part of percentage of moisture is involved in a fingerprint that's left behind?
Anywhere from 98 to 99.5% of a fingerprint is water.
And how does that work? If I touch this table, how are you able to later try to determine if I left a fingerprint behind?
In that instance, I would probably make an effort to superglue it in some manner. It'd be very easy. Solid objects are more apt to have prints developed on them than non-porous items.
What does superglue do that allows you to see a latent print?
It reacts with the moisture, the water, and the oils in the secretions that's been left behind.
So once you apply the superglue, what do you do with what you see?
If you can see a print with the unaided eye, such as a superglue developed print, we would immediately photograph it, and for comparison purposes and evaluation.
Is there any way to age a fingerprint? If I touch this table today, could you say I touched it today versus if I touched it last week and left a print behind? Or if I touched it 2 months ago and the table wasn't clean, could you tell when I left my fingerprint on the table?
The only way we'd be able to tell that you left of when you left that print on the table is by viewing when you did it, or some admission as to when you touched it. There's no physical or scientific way to age a print. Prints have been developed on items from the early 40s on cards, as an example, to try some of the war crime criminals. So prints can be developed over a long period of time on some items.
What are some things that could affect the ability to find a print on an object?
Handling on some items. If there's friction between one surface and another, it could remove the print. If it's been stored for a long time in an environment where the temperatures change, that can destroy and minimize the chance of developing a print.
What if a person, if you looked at an item, for instance, you've looked at this table and you did not find my print, does that mean I never touched the table?
No, it does not. At times, some people will leave prints quite readily because of their physical makeup. Some individuals will leave prints very easily if they're nervous or tense or in front of people that I would probably, without hardly try and leave a print no matter what I touched right now.
Is everyone's fingerprint unique?
Everyone's fingerprint is unique.
And how do you go about, if you find a print, how do you go about comparing it to something?
First, the print is analyzed to determine what area it may be, if it's part of a finger, a palm, maybe even the sole of a foot. We analyze, compare. In other words, if we know who may have left the print or were given information as to who to compare the print to, we will compare the print to the individual. We will evaluate that print and the comparison to ensure that they were made by one and the same person, and all identifications and non-identifications in our laboratory are verified by another latent print examiner.
Mr. Zarnicki, concerning if you find a print, does every print that you find that you want to compare it to something else, is every print suitable for identification?
Not every print is suitable for identification. There can be minimal ridge detail, but if there is not sufficient number of characteristics to compare a print to, you can't compare it.
Can you briefly explain to the jury how you're able to, when you have a print that's suitable for identification and compare it to a known fingerprint, how are you able to determine if they're made by the same person?
Prints, and I'll start before where his question takes me. The corrugated surfaces of the palms, fingers, soles of the feet are what's referred to as friction-ridged skin. They have a texture to them. You'll see ridges and furrows, or sometimes referred to as valleys. And much like corn rows in a field, they go straight for a while, and then there might be an abrupt ending, a forking of the ridge, which would be a bifurcation. An abrupt ending would be a ridge ending, and there's also a ridge dot, which is just what I said is a dot, just a single, very, very part of a ridge. These are compared by looking at what type of characteristic and by spatial relationship to each other, that when I compare the unknown to a known individual, they have to have the same type of characteristic, the same spatial relationship between them, which means if a bifurcation is located in each print, and then a ridge ending is, say, 5 ridges over in the known print, that ridge ending has to be 5 ridges over from the bifurcation. And then if there's a ridge dot, it has to be in the same spatial relationship. And when there's agreement in a sufficient number of characteristics between the unknown and the known, then an identification is effected.
May I approach?
You may.
Mr. Zarnicki, I'm showing you State's Exhibit number 13, your lab exhibit Y. In 2009, did you examine this pink spiral notebook and try to determine if you can find any latent prints?
Yes, I did. I examined it on or about March the 5th.
Of 2009?
Correct.
What process did you use to try to determine if you could find latent prints on the pages or covers of the pink spiral notebook?
On the cover, being a non-porous surface, I superglued it, applied a forensic dye stain, which would cause, under certain wavelengths of light, for prints to fluoresce. And on the pages, I used a chemical known as ninhydrin, which would react with the amino acids to develop the prints.
And were you able to find any prints suitable for identification?
Yes, I did.
How many prints did you find that were suitable for identification?
May I consult my notes?
Yes. And how many of the 13 were you able to, did you make a comparison of those 13 prints to known fingerprints of Dustin Weedy?
Yes, I did.
And were you able to match any of the developed prints suitable for identification to Dustin Weedy's known prints?
Yes, I did.
And how many?
10.
Starting, did you label them with Y, Y1, Y2?
Yes, I did.
Starting with Y1, can you tell us where that print was found, the latent print?
That print was developed on the inside of the cover in this area right here.
And you did some marking on it to identify that?
Yes, I did.
And how did you mark it?
I put a crescent over the top of it and then indicated it as Y1, and I also marked the laboratory case number, my initials, and the date on it.
And that matched which finger of Dustin Weedy's?
The left ring.
Next, Y2, did you find, where did you find Y2 in the pink spiral notebook?
Next to Y1.
Right, can you show us where that was? And did you mark it Y2 there?
Yes, I did.
And you have another one that's right there. Which one's that?
That would be Y3.
Starting with Y2, which finger did that match of Dustin Weedy?
The left little finger.
And then Y3?
The left middle.
Would that be consistent with all three fingers touching the notebook at the same time?
I would view it as that, yes, that they were all placed there simultaneously.
Y4, where was Y4?
Y4 is right here above my finger on the inside of the cover.
Okay, again, the inside of the cover.
Yes.
And Y4 is which of the fingers to Dustin Weedy?
Left little.
So the first four are on the inside cover of the pink spiral notebook.
Correct.
How about Y5?
some reason, I can't locate it right now.
Okay. But it would have been in the pink spiral notebook.
Yes.
And Y5, were you able to make any match to Dustin's known print?
The left little finger.
I'm going to skip Y6 for now. Y7, do you have that marked where that would have been?
May I consult something else?
Sure.
That one I can't locate either.
Okay. Would it be fair to say, though, it was part of the pink spiral notebook?
Yes.
The Y7, did that come back to match anybody?
It was the right thumb of Dustin Weedy.
I guess to save time, did you also have Y8, Y9, or excuse me, Y8, Y11, and Y12? Did you make comparisons of those three?
Yes. Here is Y7.
Okay. And what page is that on?
Page Y1.
Y1.
Or page 3 is what Mr. Licht initialed it as.
Page 3.
Yes.
Y8, are you able to track that one down? And you're showing the same page?
Yes, correct.
This would be page 3 of the pink spiral notebook?
Yes.
And Y11 and 12, are they on theirs too?
This is Y11 and Y12.
What page? That's the page with at the top has paragraph number 1?
Yes.
Okay. That has Y11 and Y12?
Correct.
Y8, Y11, and Y12, do they match anybody's known print?
The right middle of Dustin Weedy.
And then Y9?
Y9 would be here.
And you're referring to what page of the pink spiral notebook?
Page 3.
Y9 would be matched to what known print?
The right ring of Dustin Weedy.
So we went through those 10 known prints. Did you have any suitable prints for identification that did not match Dustin Weeding's known prints?
Yes, I did.
How many?
3.
And what designations did you give those?
Y6, Y10, and Y13.
And did you compare those to any other known prints at that time beside Dustin Wheaties?
I was given a set of prints bearing the name of Tracy Ann Richter.
Okay. Initially, were you given that, or was that at a later time?
At a later time.
Okay, initially when you came up with the print suitable for identification, you said those three were not made by Dustin Wheatie. Did you compare those prints to anybody else initially?
They submitted cards bearing the name of Ramona Jean Wheatie, a card bearing the name Ashley Wheatie, and a fingerprint card bearing the name of Brianna Wheatie.
And did you compare it to those three?
Yes, I did.
Were you able to make any identification?
No, I was not.
Did you also run the three unknown prints through Iowa APHIS system?
I do not believe so.
Concerning, then at a later time where you provided the defendant's known prints?
Yes, I was.
And did you attempt to compare her prints to the three Y6, Y10, and Y13?
Yes, I did.
Were you able to make any determination?
The cards or known impressions were not suitable for a complete comparison.
Did you ask for additional prints?
Yes, I did.
Were additional prints sent?
As of the...
Are you looking at the May 8th report?
Yes.
Did you do a report in June of 2009?
Yes.
Were additional prints resubmitted?
Yes, they were.
And from the additional prints resubmitted, were you able to make any determination comparing the defendant's known prints to the three that were unknown at the time?
That the one print marked Y6 was not made by a fingerprint card bearing the name I have here is Tracy Ann Roberts.
If that was her maiden name or married name at the time, where was Y6 in the pink spiral notebook?
On the inside of the front cover.
So that print did not come back to the defendant, Tracy, now Richter.
That is correct.
How about Y10 and Y13? Where were they in the pink spiral notebook?
Y13 is on the back side of, appears to be page 4, on the top edge.
So are you referring to this side of the page?
This side here.
This is the page that it starts at paragraph 5. Mr. Zarnicki, is this the Y, which one is this, Y10 or 13?
That would be neither.
Okay. Is that Y6?
No.
All right. Which one is that? I can show you.
Okay, what I was seeing was because of the light being transmitted under it, the one was showing through where this is the marking bar Y13, right through here.
So it's clear, are you referring to Y13 then? We're paragraph 5 of the pink spiral notebook. If we went straight up and looked at the TV screen to the left, this is the area?
Correct.
And then Y10 was the other one?
Y10 appears to be on the back of page 3, right here.
So for those two that we just talked about, Y10 and Y13, did you compare those to the resubmitted known print of the defendant?
Yes, I did.
And what was the result?
That I still needed better quality known impressions.
Could you eliminate the defendant as the person that made those two prints?
No, I could not.
Could you include her as the person that made those two prints?
No, I could not.
If a person's prints are not on the pink spiral notebook, does that mean a person never touched the pink spiral notebook?
No, it.
Sustained.
I'll rephrase the question. Can a person touch an object without leaving a print behind?
Yes.
And in what circumstances?
Well, first, like I've been doing, I have gloves on. Another manner might be they're just so calm that they're not excreting anything on their through their fingers to leave prints. They could have had some type of debris on their hands, and by debris I'm including dirt or kitchen flour or anything that would act as a barrier to leaving prints on an item.
And if a person smears their fingers or rubs their fingers, will that leave a print that's suitable for identification?
It's dependent on how it stops. That people can smear prints and stop abruptly and leave a print that's suitable for identification, and some cannot.
I don't have any other questions.
Presumption. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a recess for about 15 minutes at this time.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Chenke, The first time that this pink spiral notebook was examined for prints was in March of 2009. Is that correct?
Yes, that would be correct.
And at least 3 sets of prints were submitted by Ms. Richter for identification purposes. Isn't that true?
Yes.
And you were unable to match any of those 3 prints to Ms. Richter. Isn't that correct?
That would be correct.
But in fact, you eliminated at least one as Y6 is not being hers for sure. Is that true?
I'm sorry, what was that question?
Okay. You indicated that at least Y6 was not hers. Is that true?
That is correct.
And then regarding Y6 and Y13, you couldn't eliminate that they might be Mona Wheaties, Brianna Wheaties, or Ashley Wheaties. Isn't that true?
Did you say Y6 and Y13?
Yes.
That's correct.
Mona Wheatie, Ashley Wheatie, and Brianna Wheatie. Is that true?
The known cards that were submitted, yes, but may I correct a previous statement? I had found where I had searched prints in the APHIS database, the automated fingerprint identification, and in the FBI's database.
You never compared the prints found in the notebook with John Pittman III, did you?
No, I have no record of that.
Or Michael Roberts?
I have no record of that either.
Or Jeremy Collins?
I have no record of them either.
You also indicated that you needed more prints in order to verify that Y6 and Y13 were not made by Ms. Richter. Is that correct?
I did identify Y6 as being made by Ms. Richter.
I'm sorry, Y10 and Y13.
That is correct.
You never received any additional prints to make this determination, did you?
Not after my last request, no.
And that would have been in 2009, isn't that true?
Report dated June 30th, 2009, yes.
I just want to clarify. You said that Y6 was not Ms. Richter's. Is that correct?
Yes, I did.
Okay. May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes. Yes, excuse me.
These cards that I'm showing you, these would be official police fingerprints taken of Ms. Richter, wouldn't they?
These are the cards that I used for comparison purposes, yes, and the dust tape lift impressions.
And these would be official police fingerprint cards, isn't that true?
I don't understand how you define official. To me, they're just fingerprint cards.
They were taken by law enforcement, isn't that true, Mr. Chernecki?
I don't know who took them. I just know that they're fingerprint cards bearing the name of an individual, and they're submitted to the laboratory. I was not there to see who took them and who the person was that.
But they were submitted to you by law enforcement, isn't that correct?
That is correct.
Thank you. No further questions at this time, Your Honor.
You redirect?
No other questions. Thank you.
You may step down. Thank you, sir.